up, everybody? I see you guys in the chat. Welcome to another episode of Loncar Live. If you're new to the stream, this is my, I guess I have to call it evening talk show stream. But yeah, just started this a few months back and it's been a ton of fun. Tonight, for your viewing pleasure, Adam22 from the No Jumper stream is on tonight. Adam's a boss, man. He's just an absolute boss. He has a massive podcast. He's turned himself into an absolute poker crusher. Just a super laid-back dude, man. I love watching his streams. Just super chill. Love the energy. And yeah, we're going to get to know Adam a little bit better today. It's going to be a fun one. And again, thanks to all of you for tuning into the chat. And with the raid, XL, with the raid. Thanks a ton, man. So again, welcome in, everybody. Adam22 from the No Jumper podcast is my special guest tonight. This is the very beginning of my Loncar live stream. Welcome in, everybody, from that awesome raid. Appreciate you, brother. Let's get it going. Let's get Adam on the show. Hey, there he is. There he is. The man himself. Adam, what's up, brother?
What's going on, Loncar? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Again, thanks for being my guest tonight, man. I appreciate it. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I got a new car today. It's raining terribly. That's about it, really.
Okay, so you told me before the show started that it's an M8. I have to ask, what color is your M8?
I went white this time around.
Ooh, I like. Dang, man. Making boss moves. So, this is Adam22. Everybody, if you don't know who he is, now you know. He has a massive podcast called No Jumper. And in just a minute here, we're going to get all of his links, all of his social media links put into the chat. And, yeah, man. Like I said when I introduced you, I don't know if you heard or not, but something we'll talk about in a little bit is I'm very impressed with your poker skills, man. I remember playing against you on ACR, America's Card Room, like a year or so ago, and can definitely see the massive improvements in your game. And I got much respect for you, man. Doing everything.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I actually kind of got back into playing on ACR or just playing online in general around the time that the pandemic kicked off, and I knew I needed a coach because I was just super unsure about so many different spots, and I ended up finding out about BBZ because I actually heard the streamer Easter Dams talking about what a good coach Jordan from BBZ was. So I actually just DM'd him and reached out, and he was just down to coach me for just a little bit of promotion or whatever. And he I don't know how many times you've done this, you've probably done it plenty, but he just went through my poker tracker stats and just basically showed me a million things that I was doing wrong in the process in an hour, and it just blew my mind. And that just made me so much more motivated to get better at poker after that.
Hell yeah. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. Jordan's a beast. Jordan's a beast. You already know this. Ape Styles is a beast. That's a great team they got over there, man.
Definitely.
So once again, for those of you that don't know, Adam has a massive podcast. Now, talk to me about bring me back to how the podcast began and just the whole process. How did it start? Where did the idea come from? And how did it stem out to how big it is now?
Well, it's funny actually, because it kind of when I rewind my life all the way back to me being 20, it kind of goes back to poker, because when I first moved to New York City when I was 21 years old, I moved there with the intention of basically being a BMX filmer. I had a camera and I just wanted to go out there and film, because it was that early 2000s era of BMX in New York City was just absolutely insane. There was so many pros who were just out all the time riding street around the city. And I was just so enamored with BMX at that time that I moved out there. And that was my whole thing, was I just wanted to be a filmer, start making videos, whatever. And I hurt my back super bad, like pretty much as soon as I moved out there. And so as a result, I was like, all right, well, I got to, pick another thing that it seems like I'm excited about out of my brain to start working on. And I figured, maybe I should start playing online poker because I had been really interested in that. And so that became like the next couple of years of my life where I was just nonstop playing poker and just, trying to figure the game out. And we're talking like 2003, 2004. So the games were like insanely soft.
Oh, yes.
What it was to be a good poker player was not terribly clear to me or really anyone at that time. Like when I think about it now, like even probably like the worst people that I play against on ACR would probably still have been better than me at that time, But anyway, that was my thing for a couple of years. And just because I was spending so much time online playing poker and reading 2+2 and doing all this shit, I also was, when you're playing online, you're always kind of like looking for something else to sop up your attention when you don't have a hand going or whatever. Yep. So I would always be looking at like the rap blogs of the time. And so I got really, really excited about this one rap blog called Nah Right. That was just, they posted every magazine cover, they posted every like new song, etc. And I just like thought it was like the best invention ever. And then that made me realize like, oh, there's nothing like this in BMX riding. So I started a website, and that basically took over like the next 10 years of my life, where I just had this little BMX business going for myself, and I was doing all right with it. And I ended up moving to Long Beach, and then around 2011 or 2012, I ended up basically just kind of realizing that I was just really frustrated with where I was at. And I was just, I kind of felt like I wasn't really going to ever end up in a great financial position from, doing this BMX bike stuff. And I just kind of been doing the same thing for like 10 years. So I started to be like, what can I do to make this more interesting for myself? So I started vlogging every day when I would go out riding. And then I started doing a podcast, because actually around that time I started a bike shop as well. So I just set up a podcast in the back of the bike shop. And that was really, that started out cool, just interviewing all these BMX riders, but like pretty much right away, because at the time I was also going to a lot of sort of underground rap shows. And I sort of realized like, oh, there's nobody doing interviews with these people, these rappers that I personally thought were, insanely exciting and cool and everything. Because this was kind of like the very, very early days of the SoundCloud rap scene, right? So like, people always freak out about the fact that I interviewed XXXTentacion, who ended up being like one of the biggest rappers of that era.
Rest in peace.
But I mean, he was just like, he was just like a poppin', underground rapper at that time. It didn't really, to me, it was just like so obvious that people would want to watch content from these kind of guys, these lesser known rappers.
Yeah. And
somehow it just ended up exploding like really quickly, where I was just getting so many more views and making so much more. Like my goal really was not money at that time, but I just ended up making all these crazy connections and just basically like just making so much more money and getting so many more views than I had ever gotten before. And then, that just really like got me insanely excited about doing that kind of content. And I just went full steam ahead with it. And that just kind of became No Jumper. Really was just me chasing after the stuff I was excited about through the podcasting lens. And then since then, it's kind of just become even more and more of like, okay, well, how can I turn this into a business? Like, how can I make this something that's bigger than myself? Has been kind of the real transformation that I've gone through over the past few years.
That's awesome, dude. That's super awesome. I love that. So BMX vlogging and interviews is where it began, and then your passion and love for the rap game, and just recognizing that, there's all these crazy awesome rappers out there that aren't getting a lot of attention as far as interviews and podcasts, so let's do it. And that just blew you up and brought you to where you are today. I'd almost say you have like I was thinking about I was like, man, he's almost created like a little empire. That's a big word to use, but I feel like you have like an empire going right now. Like, it's big time. A lot of big names coming on, and like you said, a lot of views and really good content, man. Love to see it. So
yeah, I mean, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like it's just bizarre because I really had no idea what I was doing at that time. Like just one random example of a thing that I never expected to be a big deal that has turned into a really big deal is like I started a No Jumper Instagram when I started doing these interviews, and I would just post pictures of the rappers that we were doing content with or whatever. And it was just whatever. And over time that got up to like 2.5 million followers. And, we just started, like, I hired like a team to post on there, which is not something I ever like imagined myself doing, was like running this Instagram business. And like, I just got like a statement from my accountant the other day, and he's like, you made like $1 million this year or more than that from selling advertising on your Instagram account. And I'm like, wow, like
Wow.
I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that was going to happen, but here we are. Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. That's amazing. So the No Jumper podcast started around 10 or so years ago. Would you say somewhere there? 10 years ago?
It started in 2016.
Okay, wow. So really new then, relatively. 5 years old, started with the BMX and moved to the rap game and other celebrities. I love it, man. So it's been a massive last couple of years for you, man. For those of you that don't know, Adam is engaged. And I got to show this right here because this is just... I always show my wife your Instagram. And hold on a second right here. Where is it? Screen grab. Wait a sec, guys. Hold on. Should have had this all set up. Un momento. I got to show this picture right here. This is Nope, not that one. Wait for it. Yo, your girl is literally... Okay, if this isn't like the biggest... I think me and Luke are like twins, but yo, that's got to be amazing to look at a little girl. I mean, seriously, it's your face. It's your face on a girl. That's what I say to my wife all the time. It's Adam's face on a baby girl. It's amazing, right? It's got to be amazing. Man. How old is she now?
Right?
How old is your daughter now?
She's 13 months.
Wow. Congrats, man. That's amazing. Beautiful. Love seeing you guys' pictures and love it, man. Little baby girl. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking at your Instagram story and the fact that you have a super good family thing going, and seeing your kids are what, like 6 or 5 or something?
Yeah, so Benny's 11, Josiah's 9, and Luke is 2.5. So yeah, it's all over the board.
Yeah, I'm like so super fascinated by people's kids when they're like that age, because I just have no frame of reference for what, being a dad is going to be like as my kid gets older. I'm so excited about it. And so I'm always like looking at your Instagram story, just thinking like, oh my God, like that's something that I'm going to be doing with my kid one day. This is wild,
Yes. No, I can definitely vouch and say, like, especially with Luke, like, man, just especially the last 6 months, but I mean, really since he turned 2 and started the gibber talking and walking and running, like, your little girl's so close to, like, she's amazing. And I know, through Luke and everything, like, she's amazing and fun right now, but you just wait, like, another year or so when you can, like, start talking to her and she, like, understands you and kind of gives you the gibber talk, and of course she'll have, like, special little words that's hers, like, oh my, there's nothing better, man. There's really nothing better. I think all the time to myself, like, man, I know, like, in the next year he's going to be out of this, like, baby toddler stage, and I'm going to miss it badly because it's just so special right now. It's coming up for you, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling being super excited for their future, but then also really, really wanting to just, like, enjoy the moment, you know?
Yes. Oh, yes. No, yeah, I was just playing with Luke. I was playing with Luke the last few hours before we turned the stream on here, and I'm constantly thinking to myself, like, yeah, like, I just want to enjoy this moment and put my phone down and not look at the TV and just, obviously kind of every once in a while I think back to, like, when I was a little kid and have flashbacks of memories with my dad at that age and my mom, and yeah, it's special times, man. Congrats to you guys. And so you and your lady are engaged as of 6 months or so ago. Congrats.
Yeah. I decided to pop the question, like 6 months ago, and we haven't really made much progress on actually getting married, but presumably that is going to happen at some point. Like, we're actually going to get off our ass and actually organize some sort of ceremony or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I probably should have asked her before we procreated, but yeah.
Same. It's okay. It's all good. How did you ask? I have to ask. How did you ask?
I actually did like a vlog on YouTube of it, but I had oh, I told her like, oh, I got you a rental on Malibu so we can go and just hang out for the weekend and all this shit. And then I told her like, oh, we have a photo shoot. Like I actually got like a filmer and a photo guide to come through, and we're gonna do this photo shoot on the beach with the baby in Malibu. And then in the middle of it, I dropped to my knee, and it's kind of funny because she's fucking short. So me on one knee is like I'm basically the same height as her throughout the rest of the day. So that was a pretty funny experience. But yeah, I was pretty happy to get it done. Now you're making me feel like, oh shit, I got to actually get off my ass and organize this.
Nah, you're doing great. You're doing great things, man. Doing great things. So talk to me about the podcast. Talk to me about the podcast. Obviously, it's grown exponentially over the last number of years, and you got big guests on all the time. Where do you see, like, do you have any future plans for the future for it? Do you think to yourself, maybe branching out to other categories? Do you want to stick to rap? Like, just talk to me. Anything involving the stream in the future and what you envision for it down the road.
So I'm still very, very excited about doing interviews for sure. That's like a big part of, obviously what I'm known for and what people want to see from me and everything like that. But then at the same time, throughout the past year, we've had a lot of success, like bringing in other hosts and just having other people become sort of part of the team. There's this guy AD who we brought in, who's a rapper, who was like, a former gang member or whatever. I don't know, maybe current gang member. You never know. But he's like a super good guy that we brought in, and we just brought him in to just have him sort of help me do these news videos. And then it just ended up like the audience loved him, and we just sort of started building from there. And now he has his own podcast on the network, and he's got these other co-hosts that people really like seeing him with and everything. And there's this other guy, Sharp, who's I believe a former pimp from Vegas. And I had him on the podcast, got like 1 million views just because people loved hearing from him. And then I asked him, I'm like, hey, would you like to consistently do content with us? And all of a sudden he's got his own show on the channel, and people love it, and he's getting crazy amounts of views. So that's kind of like what I'm more focused on. Like we just bought like a $5 million office building in LA for us to basically run the No Jumper operation out of. We've been renting like we shut the bike shop that we were filming the podcast at down right before the pandemic hit. And then we started working out of this random like warehouse type space, and we just bought our own space. And we're going to be just basically building it out. And, I just see it as like, okay, the first step of this business was like me interviewing rappers, but the next step of the business is going to be me really like taking a lot of these people who wouldn't necessarily have a chance to be a host of something, either because they're from kind of sketchy beginnings or whatever, and just finding a way to like really create this like team, like that's a big part of my goal in 2022. And then also I want to open another shop up again, which is proven to be kind of difficult just because it's sort of tough to get a lease going these days, because like all the retail spots are being really like grabbed up by everybody. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep doing interviews, but then also just keep growing the team and building like this sort of community that we have going, because it feels like that's kind of the thing that's really going to turn No Jumper into something that's much, much bigger than just me.
So I have to apologize. You've created an empire. I'm gonna go back on what I said a little bit. You've created an empire, and you're looking.
We're in the early stages.
That's amazing, man. Dude, seriously, big shout out to what you're doing, and keep it going, man. There's a reason it's continued to grow and continue to exponentially grow, it looks like. But awesome stuff, man. Big congrats on all that stuff, man.
Appreciate it, man.
If I can get Loncar live, maybe I'm gonna go for 1/20th, just 1/20th the size of your shit. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be happy with that, man. Awesome stuff. Ghost of M, appreciate you, brother, in the chat. ! Guest in the chat. There's Adam22's, all of his links, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you guys check him out. NoJumper.com as well on there, so make sure you guys check out his stuff. Amazing content. And so let's talk about the family life now. And let me jump over here real quick. Because obviously I've been following you on Instagram for a while, and you know, looking at your Instagram, it's like, okay, damn, Adam doesn't live the quote unquote average Joe life. Like, in fact, I had no idea what you're gonna say as far as asking about your girl, monogamy. Like, I thought, like, okay, maybe it's not what it seems. Maybe they are the most, like, non-monogamous, polygamist couple of all time and have other girlfriends and boyfriends. But obviously, as I've learned over my years, things are not always what they seem. So tell us the dynamics of your guys' relationship. Do you guys date other people? Have sex with other people? Let me know about you guys' behind the scenes personal stuff with you and your girl.
Right. So I guess the beginning of that was just, when I met my girl, the first time we ever slept together, we went out and we got a little drunk together, and then we were back at the house, we're hooking up, and we actually like FaceTimed a girl that we were both friends with in the middle of us having sex. Which is not, something that I think like people normally would do. Like, it's probably considered to be a very, very strange course of action. I understand. But, and the girl was like a porn star or whatever. And I think we just realized right away that like we both didn't really have the same, anxiety about that kind of stuff that maybe a lot of other people do. And so as a result, we sort of just and my girl at that point too, she was like on the cusp of starting an OnlyFans, right? At this time, it was very much like pre-OnlyFans. This was when private Snapchat was the thing. And she asked me, as we were starting to kind of date, she's like, do you care if I do this? And I was like, I don't care at all. I think it's a great idea. I think it'll make a ton of money. You should totally do it. And then, so at first it was very much, just a passionate thing where we would just be hooking up, and we would just sort of, like we would go to the club and just meet a girl and then go back to the house and just hook up with her. And like, we would end up filming it and she'd end up putting it on our OnlyFans. So like, when people ask me how I got comfortable doing that kind of stuff on camera, it was like a very non-serious thing in the beginning that was just like super casual. And then I think over time we started to realize like, oh, like there's actually a lot of money to be made here. And like over time, I also got to watch my girl become one of the biggest girls on OnlyFans. And then really when my involvement got more serious, I guess, was maybe a year or so ago when we decided that we wanted to start our new show, Plug Talk. And the mind state behind Plug Talk was basically like, we wanted to create a podcast where we interviewed the girls and then we would have sex with them after we interviewed them, which as far as I know, had never been done before. And it really was just like, sort of a idea of like a combination of, I do these interviews. She's very well known on OnlyFans. We're both down to do this kind of stuff. We know a ton of porn stars. I've had so much success interviewing porn stars over the years and getting millions and millions of views. Some of my biggest interviews were with girls like Riley Reid, who we like ended up just becoming good friends with. And, just like that's kind of like this new business that we're doing together. It's already become like ridiculously successful. So I'm super hyped on that. That's just kind of, we drop one episode per week. And, like one thing I never liked about porn was like the fake storylines and everything. I always thought that was just kind of corny and just not really that interesting to me. But that's why I feel like the podcast thing kind of makes sense, is like, you get to see us really have this conversation. And then when we hook up afterwards, I don't know, it seems like a little bit more real, or at least I think that that's what the fans seem to appreciate about it.
So do you guys film the sexual stuff after the podcast, or is it usually just like to your imagination type of thing?
Oh no, there's no imagination involved. It's on OnlyFans, so we can do whatever we want. Yeah, we have a filmer and an audio guy and everything, and we get down to business. And to be honest, I mean, it's been great for our relationship because we get to have because when you're in a relationship for a long time, and especially with like me, I'm at work, a lot of times I'm at work like 10 hours a day and like totally on the grind. And we've been together 5 years. It's like you can kind of forget about the sexual part of your relationship if you're not careful. And, I get to have these crazy experiences with her where I'm watching her hook up with these like ridiculously hot porn stars. So it's just like, we'll come home. Honestly, we'll film 2 episodes of the Plug Talk thing. So I'm busting like 2-3 nuts in the course of a day, and then go home and we'll still have sex again when we get home. And I'm 38. I didn't really think that I would still have this level of enthusiasm at that age, but I mean, here we are.
Cheers to your level of enthusiasm, man. Cheers to that. Jay Penny
Apologies if there's any kids watching. Yeah.
Jay Penny 76 in the chat. What's up, brother? He says, ask Adam, and you kind of answered that. So I guess the answer is just like, it's not a concern. But he says, ask Adam when he goes to work, is he ever like, damn, I'm just too tired today. I just don't feel like having sex today after this podcast. I guess you got to answer that. You just always got the energy. You're good.
I mean, we have done some scenes where we have like a male porn talent on deck who he performs the deed when like at times that we don't necessarily want to, which is totally fine. You know, it's like sometimes that feels like really like some boss shit is like, wow, like I'm doing this content and I don't even have to do the fucking. But yeah, no, that I never feel like that. I feel like I could feel like that, but it's never really happened. Like I always, even when I'm on like round 3, I just start seeing this stuff go down in front of me and I'm just like, all right, let's do this shit. I'm still excited about it. I don't know.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. And yeah, as they say, man, it's as they say, it applies to everybody, man. Happy wife, happy life. It sounds like you said you guys had a casual thing and after a certain point in time, I thought you were going to say like, we just realized like, damn, we're really fucking happy together. So, you know, that's awesome, man. Congrats on you guys finding your happiness. And I did forget to ask you a little bit ago. I did catch you slip. I'm sure there are a couple other people that caught Adam slip as well. He said, kid. When you're talking about your little girl a little bit ago, do you guys plan on having another one? Is that in the works? Or you guys talk about it all, or?
We are definitely planning on having more kids. We just kind of. I think that like, you know, when you're somebody who's like basically making money off of your body, there's like a real sort of like pressure on my girl where it's like, okay, she wants to, you know, maximize the amount of money she's making right now. So we did have one kid. And to be honest, if she wasn't in the line of work that she's in, she probably would be having another kid like already. Yes. But because of the fact that we're just basically trying to make sure that we get this business running properly and everything with the whole plug talk thing. We just want to sort of take our time with that. So I think we might be waiting like at least like another, I don't know, maybe 2 years before we have another one. But I mean, I love having a kid so much that I'm just, you know, I would love to create more kids right now, but she's kind of got to be realistic business wise, I think.
Okay. Well, in time, man. So now let's switch over to the poker stuff a little bit. I found your stream, I think around a year ago or so. And as I said when I introduced you, man, I love your laid back, you know, vibe and whatnot. And so I know you said you've been playing poker for a long time. What made you start streaming? And how do you feel about your game right now? Talk to me poker, man. Let's talk some poker right now.
Yeah, I mean, poker is a weird thing for me because, you know, I pretty much like couldn't play poker online for stakes that would actually really like matter to me at this point in my life. Mm-hmm. But I just love it so much. Like I played all day Sunday, probably did like 10,000 almost in buy-ins. I ended up having like a really good day because I got third in a 1K for like 24K or something like that. But man, I don't know. I just love the game. I was so fascinated by it. There's a bunch of streamers that I watch, like just like every night. Like I'm super hyped to like, I always have to like watch somebody's deep tournament run or whatever before I go to bed.
Hell yeah.
Like even I found myself actually like rewatching my favorite streamers, deep runs, like
who are your favorite streamers? Give it to us.
So my all-time favorite is All in Pav. I just think he's fucking hilarious. He just cracks me up.
He's a G.
And he's super good. So yes. that's a big one for me. And then I like BBZ, obviously. He doesn't stream that much. I like Ape Styles a lot. He's fucking hilarious. I like Ben CB a lot just because he's like crazy good.
Dude,
and like
crazy good.
Yeah, his analysis is just like shocking sometimes. I'm just like amazed by the stuff that he does. There's a bunch of other ones though. I watch Jamie Staples sometimes. I watch who else do I watch? Really, Egyptian's really good. I fuck with him a lot. I like Easter Dams. I even watch some of the Cash guys. You know, if I really get bored, I'll throw on like a a cash vlog or some shit like that. But you know, there's just a ton of poker content creators that I really like.
I see how it is. I see how it is, Adam. I see how it is, man.
Okay, Loncar, of course. I watch you. I've seen the deep runs, bro. You and Boski. I didn't name a single American right there because, you know, let's be real though. If you want to watch like really high stakes and shit, you end up not watching a ton of Americans because there's so much less options, you know?
That's true. I thought we were cool, man. I thought we were homies. I see how it is now.
Oh man. I do this a lot though, where I do interviews with people, or people interview me, and I always forget to mention like that I like their content. Like I did this to this dude. There's this dude Toby in this band H2O who interviewed me the other day, and I didn't mention at all that I liked his band, and then I realized afterwards, I'm like, oh, he thinks I don't even know what his band is.
I'm just playing with you, man. I had to say it. I had to do it. I was actually at a certain point. I was like, I hope he isn't saying me, so I can just drop the song right now.
I like your shit too, man. I watch you and Boski. You guys both kill it.
Cheers, man. Cheers. Hell yeah. Yeah. It's funny you said like, you know, basically you play the game because you love the game. And just a couple days ago, whenever that was, maybe it was on Sunday or no, a couple days ago, anyways. You were streaming poker, and my wife's laying in bed, and I'm watching your stream on my tablet right there, you know, so she's listening to you too. And she literally asked me the question. She was like, I wonder how much, she like basically said like, I wonder how much he plays for the game and how much for the money. And it's so crazy because someone literally 10 minutes later asked that question, and you answered it and said, yeah, like this 1K tournament I'm playing, first place is 50K. 50K is a lot of money to a lot of people, but for me, I just play for the love of the game, and obviously 50K to win is awesome, but like there's something about the competition, the fact that there's that, you know, that there's like a big skill factor, even if it's dumb luck on a certain hand, like you know as well as I do, like put in the time and play good poker, like the results will come, and it's a fucking, I think you gotta have something in your blood though, you know, because obviously you gotta have a certain level of gamble and a certain level of degen. But like mixing that with the fact that you know that like, oh, like I can be degen and be good at something and just cut people up in this. It really is all about the game. I love the game so much. And I've thought about this lately. Like, what if I just inherited like $1 billion by some relative I've never heard of? Like, I would still be doing my thing. I would still be streaming. I'd still be playing poker. I love the game so much, and that's what I fucking love about you and watching you play. Like, I can see, you know, the transparency of like, oh, this dude loves the game. I love to see that, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like just knowing the right thing to do in spots is like way more interesting to me. And I mean, yeah, like all day Sunday, I'm just like screen recording hands on my phone and sending them to Landon Tice and like asking him like, did I fuck this up? Is this an ICM punt? Whatever. And like, you know, that process is what really does it for me. Like I don't really get that much enjoyment out of playing cash online, but I love playing at the Hustler Casino on their live stream because I can actually like rewatch those hands. And like even last time I was there, I think it was the second to last time I was there, I played this big ass hand versus Andrew Nemi, which actually ended up being the biggest hand of his career. Apparently, I think it was like 16K or almost 20K or some shit. And it was like a flush over flush situation where I probably should have saved myself like an extra like 5,000-6,000 and folded on the river. But yeah, I mean, like Bart Hansen made a fucking video about the hand, and like I got to, you know, watch like a 15-minute analysis of the hand from Bart Hansen, which was like, you know, him going through it and like forcing me to think about the hand on so many different levels. And that was super rewarding, like just to be able to like play a hand and then have like high level pros pick it apart, like and just I just really like thinking about hands. And I haven't actually gone. I actually paid for Pile Solver one time. I spent the $500 and then I never actually downloaded it.
God, I like the same on that. I spent the $450 or whatever, and I haven't really used it that much. I really haven't. Okay, so yeah, I honestly, I need to go back and watch a couple of those episodes where you were on the Hustler Big Cash Games, because I saw you were on one of them not that long, like a few weeks ago or a month ago or so, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta check this out, and then got wrapped up in my stuff, and I'm definitely gonna go back and bookmark that and go check that out. What were some of the what was like the buy-in ranges you were playing on those? Were those, and also are those the biggest cash games you've ever played in? If not, what are some of the biggest cash games you've ever played in?
No, yeah, those are the biggest cash games I ever played. Going there and playing like 10, 20. I don't really spend money on anything. Like I don't really have any like expensive hobbies. You know, I have friends who make a lot of money and they spend all their money on cars or you know, all these different things. And I don't really have that, you know, like I don't sometimes I'll go and buy like, you know, expensive jeans and shit. And like afterwards, I'm just like, why do I own this $1,500 jeans now? I don't give a fuck at all. Like, this is so stupid. But you know, being able to play like above the buy-in that I should probably realistically be playing at and just like go play 10, 20 or whatever. I haven't played above that, even though I'd really like to, especially doing it on the Hustler, because I feel like if I go and play 10, 20 and I'm just getting washed by a bunch of crazy pros, that like, what's the fucking point? But if I have this video record of it that I can go over after the fact, that to me is just so valuable because I can actually learn from those hands. And then also the 10, 20 game at the Hustler is probably like way, way softer than almost any other 10, 20 game that you could ever get into in your life. So I don't know. It's just the cash thing is a little bit like I love the MTT thing more, like realistically, but the cash thing is super fun as well.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I played cash games for like 6 years straight, nothing but, and I can easily say I love tournaments so much more. I love the fact that I can win. I just love the fact I can play a tournament and win $100,000. Like, you know, I'm not going to go play a cash game where I'm going to buy in for $50K to win $100,000. So I love that. And I just love the competition. I love the cutthroat. I love the, you know, it's just so much more of a competition feel than cash games, obviously. That's awesome, man. That's super awesome. So let's talk about the kendamas. Am I saying it right? The kendama?
Yeah, I don't have one here. I would show you.
No, dang it. Okay. So yeah, so I see the kendama videos all the time. Where did that come about? Is that just some random thing you started doing? And
yeah, I have a real propensity to like get into shit and then just take it too far and like get way too into it, you know?
Yeah.
And to be honest, like I kind of fell back on riding BMX bikes around the time that the no jumper thing really started to pop off, because it just started to be like every day I had a new interview to do. And every day I had, you know, somebody that I had to do a meeting with at the store or whatever. So I owned this bike shop, but I just stopped going out and riding bikes. You know, it just kind of, I got out of it. But there's something about like the kendama where, you know, for those who don't know, it's like a wooden ball and stick toy. It's a 17th century Japanese thing. And I just had a friend who got into it, and there's all kinds of like technical, weird little tricks that you can do with it. And just that like process of having this like really simple toy, and you can just learn things on it that could just potentially keep you entertained forever. I don't know. It just really captured me, and I just really started going hard for a while trying to get better at it. And I've actually like, you know, traveled a bunch. Like I've been to Japan for like kendama contests just to watch and stuff.
They have competitions. They have like kendama competitions.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, I mean, people see me and they're like, "Oh, this guy seems like he's really good." I'm like, absolutely nothing compared to the people that actually like base their life around this, you know. And but we have a whole team. We make the kendamas ourselves because we were selling other brands at first, and it just kind of, you know, we just didn't really think they were that cool. So we just started to kind of make our own to sell out of the store, and then that turned into like we sponsor a team. We have a bunch of professionals on the team who do this. They're mostly like young dudes, you know, like 25 or younger. But I mean, some of these dudes will, like, one of the guys that our biggest name pro is this guy Wyatt Bray, and he will like go to the park and play kendama for like 8-9 hours in a given day, like that, like with the camera set up filming him. That's his day, and he's just so unbelievably obsessed with it. It's the craziest thing I ever seen.
That's awesome, dude. I freaking love that. I honestly love little things like that. And I can tell that's one of those things that like looks pretty easy and is definitely not easy. I can tell that takes time. That takes grind time.
There's tricks that I could teach you on it in like, you know, like a minute or like a couple of minutes. I've taught, you know, people's moms how to do like really basic tricks on the kendama, like very, very easily. But then, you know, there's tricks that like I would never even be able to explain to you unless you like really started to mess with it. I wouldn't be able to explain to you what somebody did in some of the hardest tricks because they're so unbelievably technical. And to be honest, I was so into it, like staying up late doing it and like, just playing for like 2 hours in the middle of the day and stuff. But then I actually started playing poker, and that really kind of messed it up a little bit, where I stopped playing kendama as much because I was just so obsessed with studying poker and playing,
You got that addictive personality. You're a lot like me, man. I love it. When you go something, it's just balls deep. You're going hard. I love it. And that's what you got to do if you want to be the best at something, or at least be really fucking good. You got to focus on one thing and at least a couple things and put your time in. I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah, it's always served me well.
Hell yeah. Well, this is my favorite part of the show every single week. This is now the question and answer time. This is your guys' time to ask Adam any question you guys got. Ask away in the chat. And I actually got to ask you one thing that's just on the top of my head. Have you ever played the WSOP main event?
No, I've never played a live tournament.
You've never played a live tournament? What? Why? You're crazy.
I've never had the opportunity. Like every year there's the World Series of Poker, but like I always have something that is just like way too good of an opportunity doing something else that I like can't really rationalize going and like and to be honest, like this sucks. And it sounds like I saw Dave from Barstool say something like this. He's like, he said on Twitter, he's like, so the World Series of Poker, you really expect me to take like 2 weeks out of my life to go play a fucking $10,000 tournament? And I was kind of like, that's kind of how I feel too, is it's just not enough money to really like I would do it. I would love to like have enough time to do it. But like, just for example, like I was supposed to do it like the year before the pandemic hit. And then I had to go to London, and I interviewed Young Thug. I did like some interviews with like Juice WRLD out there before he passed, and like I interviewed like a ton of famous like UK rappers. I basically did like 20 interviews in the course of like 1 week. And then, so that was why I couldn't do it this year. And then this year I was like, oh, I'm playing the World Series. I'm doing it. And then it ended up being that like Complex Con was in LA, which is basically like the biggest, fashion streetwear convention of the year. And we had a booth there, and like, we sold this collab that we did and everything. And it was like, that was just way too good of an opportunity. Like I couldn't pass that up. I had to do that. So it's like every year there's just something that is like too good of an opportunity to go play a tournament.
Okay, so I'm going to it's going to be my mission to like find like the next time there's like a good like 10K World Poker Tour tournament in LA or something. I'm going to have to fly down. We're going to have to play something like that together. Something that's like a 2 or 3 day tournament where you can win $1 million. I'm going to have to find something like that we can play together sometime. For sure.
Yeah, well, I've been kind of thinking about that. Like, I feel like at some point I'm just like not going to care about turning down like really good business opportunities so that I can play poker, because it's just kind of like at a certain point, I feel like I'm going to be financially comfortable enough that it won't even be a concern at all.
Yep.
I guess. So I don't know. I'm hoping that happens, because I really, really want to do it. I want to just see what it's like to like play a live tournament, but I just still haven't got around to it. I would play poker every day if it wasn't for the fact that I just always have
your schedule's just slammed. You're fucking slammed.
And it's just better opportunities. It's like I could go do an interview, and like, if I do an interview and it gets like 500,000 views, then I could probably like say there's a sponsor on it and stuff. I could probably make like 10 grand from like one interview. So, I mean, going and playing play a poker tournament where
you could lose 10,000 for 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. And my return on my investment might be like, completely negligible. It's just, it never seems like a good use of my time. That being said, I always really, really want to. I have to like fight against it in my head to say no.
I feel that. I feel you. There we go. SP4027 in the chat. What's up, man? He says, one interview that Adam wants but hasn't got yet. Is there someone on your mind when you think about that question?
That I want that I haven't gotten yet. I'm gonna try to give you like a creative answer, because I don't really know. Well, I mean, I did get the Mickey interview, which seemed pretty cool. It was cool to do an interview that I knew that like a lot of gamblers would be interested in, because
yes.
like a lot of times when I go
he's
to,
a crazy fuck on the tables. I love his play. He's crazy.
oh yeah, man. I mean, me and him had a fucking ridiculous hand where I had the nuts straight and there was 3 hearts on the flop, and he just did this crazy river check raise, and he's just, I think Hustler uploaded it, and he's thinking out loud and talking about how he thinks I have a pair of aces, and the whole time I'm thinking like, are you fucking serious? Like you're not gonna say anything about the fact that there was 3 hearts on the flop? Like, are you trying to level me into thinking that there's no chance that you have a flush, but really you have a flush? And then he goes, he re-raises huge, and I just call immediately because I have the nuts straight, and I just figured that it was good, and he just had like a second pair or some shit, and it was the craziest hand ever, and I'm so glad there's a video of it because otherwise I would not even believe this fucking hand.
Yeah, I've seen enough of him. I want to get in those games, man. That's all I gotta say. That's awesome. Yeah. Jan Brock, what's up, brother? He says, can you ask him how he feels about Book Gang, aka John Gabbana's transformation, and was that his wildest interview?
So what he's talking about is basically there's this dude Boot Gang who goes by the name, his government name is John Gabbana, and he was like basically a Instagram influencer of sorts early on when I started the podcast, and I had him on, and his whole thing was that he was like really fucked up on drugs and like drunk all the time, and he would steal stuff on Instagram, like filming himself. He would like steal something and then he would run away and like make like these like funny internet skits about it. And I think it was real at first, and then I think it became not real after a while. Like he started to, kind of fake it just for content or whatever. And then he stopped doing that at some point. And but I've done a bunch of interviews with him over the years. He found God, and he's like a boxer and stuff now. So he's actually kind of got his whole life together pretty good. But there was one night where I was supposed to interview him, and he came to the office, and he was so fucked up, like on pills or drunk or something. And he came into the office and was basically like demanding that I interview him when we're live already. So he's like really like pushing the issue of like, no, we got to do this interview now. And he's so fucked up that he could barely even stand up. And then he ends up like sitting down. I ended up talking to him for a little bit. And then he ends up like, as he's walking away from the interview, he ends up like falling and just bashing his face into the wall.
What?
And it was like the most viral thing ever at the time. Like, I remember I was in Hawaii like the next week, and the fucking server at the restaurant is just like, hey man, like I love that Boot Gang interview you did the other day. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like, I can't believe that went that viral. But yeah, it was kind of unfortunate because I really didn't want that footage out there because it was like kind of embarrassing for him. And, I don't, if I wasn't on live stream and he had showed up and he had said, hey, I want to do an interview, I would have said like, no, dude, you're too drunk. Like, I'm not doing an interview with you. But we were live. So I just kind of had to. And then, it just went super viral. So I guess it was all right, but it was not ideal.
Did he say anything about it? Like, oh shit, like fucking wish that wouldn't have happened or something afterwards?
I don't know if he ever actually said that, but I mean, it was pretty obvious, I think, at a certain point that he was embarrassed about it, and especially because he stopped doing drugs and drinking like soon after. That's rough.
Restless John in the chat says, Adam22, what is your all-time favorite interview you've done besides Loncar Live, obviously? Obviously, you don't have to say that.
Favorite interview I ever done? Well, I mean, like, I've had the opportunity to interview a lot of people who like passed away soon after or relatively soon after, and those ones always are the ones that really stand out to me. Like I have a friend, Draco the Ruler, who's like a LA rapper who he got killed a couple of weeks ago, and we did 3 interviews over the years, and he had done like he was fighting a murder case for years and years, and we had like all kind of banded together like the LA like rap community, and we were like really advocating, like trying to raise awareness about how unfair the fact that he was being held in jail for all these years was, because they really didn't have any kind of evidence against him, and he just recently got killed, and that like just seeing the way that people react to those interviews after the people are gone. And I interviewed King Von, who's like this super legendary Chicago rapper. I interviewed there's so many of them. Like I was just talking about XXXTentacion, like his interview, like, I mean, his interview was already pretty much like the biggest interview we had ever done. And then he passed away, and it was like the spike. Like when I go back and I look at my YouTube analytics over the years, the day he died was the most views that our YouTube channel ever got, which is, it's kind of morbid to even think about it in those terms. But
of course,
it was just like mind blowing to me that like, oh, this dude passed away, and then like seemingly the whole world, or like a very big chunk of the world, tuned into my YouTube channel to figure out who he was and see what kind of person he was, because he hadn't really done any other interviews. And I mean, that to me is just like the most valuable experience, is creating this sort of blueprint for a person that could potentially last longer than they last.
Wow, that's got to be surreal. That's got to be surreal now to go back and watch that interview. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Boston asks, does Adam's wife like him with the girls on the Instagram posts? So I'm gonna go with she's totally fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like there's definitely been times, there's been some kinks we had to work out over the years, just in the sense that, I remember like the first time, like one of the first times that we tried to film something, she got a little too drunk. And that's not good. Like that's not great. Like if you don't really want the person to be drunk when you're filming. My girl got a little upset at me that time because she had a little bit too much to drink. But yeah, I mean, we've gotten past that. Now it's like it's all business. It's not really the kind of thing where we get super emotional about it or whatever. Like we've had scenes where my girl just like didn't feel great, and she was just like, hey, can you just fuck the girl? Like I'll just kind of like be there, but I'm not really trying to like get down. And I'll be like, yeah, I got you, babe. I'll do it.
Okay. So yeah, it's all good then. It's all good. Yeah. So actually, okay. So this question here has been asked a couple times in the chat. I heard about this actually, and now we'll find out the answer. Always Stacking asked Loncar, ask him about when the guy walked in on the interview and pulled a gun on him. What the hell, man? What the hell?
You haven't seen that clip?
I saw the clip. I did see the clip. I just don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so I do these music streams sometimes, and this used to be like a very, very big thing for me financially. Like I needed to do this because like YouTube wasn't paying that great back in the day. But I would do these music streams, and we still do them. And at the time, it was in the back of the bike shop. Now it's at the office. But we would basically listen to people's music, and they pay like $120. And we'll listen to their song on stream. So like, 1,000 people or however many people are watching the stream, we'll get to hear their song. Me and the homies sitting around, we'll discuss their song, give them our opinion of it. So that was, something that we would be doing all the time in the back of the shop. Right.
Okay.
And basically like we ordered food, they're bringing the food in. And while the guy is bringing the food in, this random kid was like hiding in the alley. And, he like slipped in past the security guard that we had, who was like standing at the door, and he ran and like just shoves a gun in my face. And you see me in the video, like I actually kind of like laughed because it seemed so ridiculous, and I almost thought that it was a prank. Like that was what was going through my head, is like, is this a prank? Like, am I gonna look stupid if I fucking fall out of my chair? But yeah, it was real, but the gun was fake. Like it ended up that it was like a prop gun or a movie gun or some shit. But it was actually even scarier than it looks in the clip, because this guy's pointing the gun at me, but the security guard's got his gun pointed at the dude's head. So I'm feeling like either this dude's about to shoot me or he's going to get shot on top of me.
Wow.
And like going to fall into me, and I'm going to get this dude's brains all over me or whatever. Now, unfortunately, the security guard didn't pull the trigger, which I mean, maybe fortunately, maybe unfortunately, I don't really know how to gauge that one. But yeah, we take our security a lot more seriously at this point. I actually have my gun sitting right here. I'm not going to show it on your stream because it's a family stream, but that was a big moment where I was just like, oh, all right, like I'm actually famous now, and there's actually crazy people out there. Because this dude had DM'd me like dozens and dozens of times telling me that he wanted to be on the podcast, and I never even saw it. I never even opened. I never opened the DM.
You probably get so many messages all the time for that.
Yeah, and so that was a moment where I started taking my security a lot more seriously, and now I do family stuff without security and stuff, but pretty much like anytime I go out in public around people or whatever, I'll have my guy with me.
Dude,
And
that is insane.
yeah, so that was a very, very weird realization of like, oh, okay, like you're enough of a thing now that like somebody might try to do something for you, and
Security's got to tighten up. Security's got to tighten up. So how did that situation end? What happened? How'd that fizzle out?
Oh, so I actually didn't even lay a hand on the guy, but my the dudes who were with me, they beat the shit out of him like really, really bad till he was unconscious. And then we actually called the cops, and the cops like didn't seem to get it. Like they were kind of like, oh, so like you don't need us to come because he's already like you already took care of it. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. Like
that's ridiculous.
I'm on the phone with the cop. I'm like, no, like you understand that if you don't come here, we're going to drag this dude's body into the alley and leave him there. And he's probably going to die because, you know, I mean, he definitely had to go to the hospital after that and shit. And yeah, and the cops came and they seemed very, very confused as well. It was kind of amazing just like how useless they were in that moment. And I guess that was a very important moment for me, realizing like, oh, you got to protect yourself. Like the cops ain't necessarily going to come save you if you run into trouble, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy. A lot of levels on that right there. Crazy stuff right there, man. That's at least nothing happened, man. At least it was a prop gun, and then you can laugh about it now or whatever. You know, that's insane, man. I can't imagine that. I think I'd honestly have the same reaction too. Like, oh, like, yeah, is this a fucking joke? Because it can't even seem real in the moment. That's insane, man. Neckbeard Hirsch in the chat has asked this a couple times, so I got to ask it. Maybe Adam, maybe you know what's up with this. He says, ask about his opinion on scooters and who put him on to Lil Peep.
Yeah, I think that's the same dude who's asking about this guy I know named Badger. Because yeah, I mean, like back in the day when I was riding BMX every day, we definitely like thought we were too cool for scooters or whatever, you know. And then over time, it just kind of became that like there were scooter dudes that were out hanging out at the skate park or whatever, and they were doing crazy stuff on their scooters, and the progression of the whole scooter thing just really went crazy over the years. So I fuck with the scooter kids, and I follow a bunch of them on Instagram, and I'm always kind of amazed by the technical stuff that they think up on scooters. So I fuck with the scooter community for sure. And yeah, Lil Peep is another dude who I interviewed like very, very early on. He was one of the rappers that I knew like when I started No Jumper, that I just thought like, oh, if I start a podcast, maybe I can interview this dude, Lil Peep. He was just like a young up and coming white kid rapper, and he died from like an accidental fentanyl overdose a couple years into his career, and it, you know, it was obviously just insanely sad. And that was another really traumatic one that was tough to get through in the early days of the podcast, and also that played a huge role in me falling back on doing drugs, because I used to drink and I used to do coke and pop pills and all this shit, and like I've seen a lot of people die over the past few years from bad drugs or just drugs in general. So that was a big thing for me, and just realizing like, all right, you got to fall back. This isn't a sustainable lifestyle in the long run.
For sure, man. For sure. TGO777. That's my dad right there. What's up, Pops? Thanks for tuning in, Dad. My dad asks, Adam, what is the key to your success when you look back on building your business?
The key to my success? Well, I would like to think that I could maybe one day be the kind of person who could start a business and become successful without having the business be something that I was passionate about, you know. Or like I always get kind of like, I see people who start businesses that are like really lucrative opportunities that they are not at all passionate about, but they just see the opportunity and they do it. And I mean, I always like look at that, and I think that's amazing, because for me, I've only ever been able to start businesses when there was something that I was excited about, that I got into, and then I just kind of like ended up having a good idea about how to make some money doing it, just because it was something I was excited about, whether it was BMX or rap music or just podcasting in general. You know, I was a dude who was just sitting around listening to Joe Rogan every night, and then all of a sudden I like realized that I had the opportunity to do podcasts about a different topic. And, you know, even it sounds kind of corny, but even with the porn stuff, it's like my whole life, I was obviously, before I got into this relationship, I was very, very sexually motivated. And at a certain point, I just had this bright idea, and me and my girl had the idea together of like, oh, we could actually like create this crazy business out of this thing. And I mean, that's always what it's been for me, is that I just get really, really excited about things, and then I inevitably end up finding like a hole in the market, or just seeing some kind of opportunity where it's like, oh, maybe we could do this related to this,
That's amazing. Do what you love and do what you're passionate about. All your passions, right? You brought it all together. And like I said, man, congrats on building your empire. I'm going to continue to... Now I'm going to pull for your heart. I've always been a big fan of yours, but now that I've talked to you here today and heard the story and heard step by step, all of it, man, now I'm going to be pulling for you just to just kill it in life that much harder, man. Much love, man. Appreciate you, dude.
Man. Thank you.
So, yo, thanks again for coming on tonight, man. It's been a great episode. Lots of love to you and your lady and your little one, and just hope you guys continue to do what you love and keep killing it, man. And hopefully one day we're gonna play a live tournament together. That's my goal now with you. I'm gonna get you down to come out for a little. Maybe I'm gonna find. I guarantee I'm gonna find something one day that's like a sizable tournament. That's only a 1 or 2 day tournament. And I'm gonna hit you up and we're gonna play it together. And you're gonna be like addicted to live tournaments because they're like mega soft, like so much softer than online tournaments, for real, man. Especially on the bigger buy-ins. But yeah, we're gonna make that happen for sure.
Yeah, because they're doing another main event pretty soon, right? Like they're not waiting a whole year.
No, I think they're gonna bring it back. I'm pretty sure they're bringing it back to the normal like end of May, June, July again this year. So it's gonna be popping off soon.
Right, which is, I mean, that's great because honestly, like it's kind of out of the ordinary that both of the most recent World Series there was like something in my schedule, because I have a lot of weekends where I'm literally just at home hanging out with the kid.
Yep.
It's just like I've had bad luck the past couple of World Series, but this one I'm gonna really, really try to clear the schedule, because I just want to be out there. I love poker players, being around. I have people tell me sometimes that poker players on average are bad people, but from my perspective, I mean, I've almost never run into anyone that I think is shady or shitty at all. Like I love the community. I love just reading like the conversations between poker players on Twitter, because they just tend to be so rational and logical and just have sort of well thought out opinions on shit.
Hell yeah. No, I love the poker community. Obviously there's always a little fucker here and there, in any realm of anything. But yeah, I love the poker community. Jay Pena 76 in the chat, my brother. I couldn't agree with this more. He says, tell Adam he needs to stream poker on Twitch more. Really enjoy his stream. I gotta agree, man. I love watching your streams. I know you got a million things going on. Now you got a little one, but I'd love to see you stream more too, man. Love to see your streams. I actually love how you just have like no music, just so laid back. And actually something you mentioned a couple days ago when I was watching you on stream, you said something along the lines of like, every time I grind online, like it makes me feel the urge to like smoke some weed. And it's actually funny when you said that. I was going to type something in the chat and then I got sidetracked by my son Luke, but I can't tell you actually how many friends I have that are like the biggest stoners in the world, and they're just like the biggest poker crushers in the world. In fact, I was actually like a pretty like massive stoner before I met my wife, and we just play like 24 tables while hitting a bong like all day long. Like that was my thing. And so I think it's something to do with like just kind of relaxing you and kind of getting you in like a zone type of thing. There's definitely something to that, because like I said, I have a lot of friends out there that do that grind all day and just smoke all day, and it's not a coincidence. It's definitely goes hand in hand. So you're not the only one. I had to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't smoked in like 10 days right now, and I'm like just now starting to get to the point where I'm like, maybe you do want to continue to smoke weed, like it just doesn't really I don't know, it's like it felt good to take a nice break from it.
Yep. But
at the same time, I don't know, I do kind of love it, and I'm not really 100% sure if I want to like fully stop smoking or not. So yeah, but I feel like I was getting a little too compulsive with it for a while, where I was just smoking like every morning, like constantly having to have a blunt rolled and shit. And it sort of started to bother me that I was just feeling too addicted to it, I guess. Yeah. And
it's so
I'm glad I took that break. I'm not sure if it's going to be a permanent break or not.
Feel it out. Do what you want to do, my man. Thanks again for coming on, brother. I appreciate you so much, man.
No,
You're the man. Pleasure. You're the man, dude. And yo, once again, ! Guest in the chat for all of Adam's links. And again, man, much love to you and the fam. And always going to cheer you on, brother. Thanks for coming on, man, and continue crushing life.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks so much.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon. And good luck on the poker streets.
Appreciate you. And yeah, anybody follow me, twitch.tv/Adam22. I don't stream that much, but I do manage to get it in and from time to time. So if anybody wants to follow me, I would appreciate it because I always need actually it's crazy because I always end up getting raids from like Kevin Martin, you, Pav, Boski. Like I really feel the love when I stream because I'll have all these dudes that I watch fucking raiding me, and I feel so honored,
Hell yeah. You're the man, dude. You're the man. Thanks again for coming on. And again, like Adam said, click on that Twitch link in the chat, twitch.tv/Adam22. Adam, much love, brother. Have a great night, man.
Thanks, man. Take care, Loncar.
All right, man. Later. Adam22. That was awesome, dude. That was awesome. Love that guy. Always been a big fan of his. And yeah, awesome stuff. Once again, all of Adam's links are in the chat. All of his links. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, nojumper.com. And Ghost of even put the OnlyFans link in there for you guys. So yeah, shout out to Adam. Mega Boss. You guys have a great night. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for the home game. Happy New Year's, happy holidays, and thanks for watching Loncar Live. I'll see you guys next time. If you liked this video, make sure and give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, which is free. And don't forget to click the bell, which will let you know when any new video has been uploaded to my YouTube channel. If you want to catch my streams live, I'm currently streaming all day Wednesdays and all day Sundays over at twitch.tv under the username Loncar Poker. Thanks for watching.